Hello, everyone. Welcome to 76 Research. It's good to have you here. I am Trish Regan. I'm joined by my colleague from 76, none other than Rob Hordon, and we're just reacting to this amazing news out of the markets. I'm like, wow, okay, so I think this is pretty historic. We've reached new all-time highs here in the markets, and I'm looking at Dow at, touching 44,000 today. This is amazing. Tesla hitting $1 trillion in market cap. Elon was a big winner in this election. You get the S&P at nearly 6,000, ending the day at 5,995. The Dow just short of 44,000. It hit it for the very first time ever. NASDAQ kind of to the flat line, but just an amazing story here. I mean, we look at this week, and I got to tell you, Rob, we've been talking about this for some time. We've been talking about the internals of the markets and how it was predicting a Trump victory, but the proof is in the pudding. I mean, investors have voted. The world has voted. They are psyched.
Yeah, pretty amazing reaction following Tuesday night. I think the market overall, the S&P is up something like 4%, and it had been drifting up. Kind of discounting a Trump victory going into it, but clear across the board positive reaction. Across sectors. Some sectors doing better than others. A little bit of a move up in interest rates, but that's kind of settled back down. So really, I mean, I think this really, there was all this chatter about tariffs and Trump will hurt the economy and he's reckless, blah, blah, blah. Investors have.
It's worse than that, right? Let's just call it what it is. He's a racist. He's a fascist. He's a dictator. He's basically the next, Hitler. I mean, for goodness sakes. Well, the market has voted, okay? And I'm simple. This works. The policies and the team that he's bringing in, Wall Street just gave them the biggest round of confidence. I mean, I was getting kind of nervous. I thought Trump would win. I think we both thought that. Again, looking at the market internals, even looking at the prediction market, poly market, right? We're looking at all this data and we're like, okay, this is happening. We didn't necessarily know it would be by this much. And this is encouraging because it tells you that, you know what? The train has left the station. We're moving forward. And all kinds of things can get done. And I feel like we've had this blanket over us for the last nearly 4 years. And it's like, you're afraid to say boo. You're in trouble if you're not willing to check off your gender on a form sometimes these days. I'm like, I out of spite, I'm just not checking the box. My name's Trish and take a look. What do you think? Come on. So all of this combined with the DEI nonsense that you had to, see in your career firsthand there on Wall Street, it's over. Boeing just got rid of its DEI department. And so now the market's up. Investors are voting with their wallets. So what do you do? How do you play? We just came out with a no. I mean, I know. I want Rob to come into the conversation here because he does all the due diligence and I get a lot of macro themes, but he's looked actually at some specific names, which we have at 76research.com. Go there, guys. Get the names. Get the portfolios. I can't tell you enough how important it is right now. I mean, I wish you did it 6 months ago when we were telling you to, but if nothing else, do it now. Better late than never. Where's the opportunity?
Yeah. So we did just publish a note on the 76 report. So if you sign up right now, you'll have access to it. And we actually go through 6 specific stocks that we've already profiled in more depth in the 76 report. But now people can kind of see how those names actually dovetail with, what's going on in the changing political landscape and how they'll benefit from the new, from Trump taking, from the MAGA takeover, if you will.
MAGA takeover. Yeah. But it's good for markets.
Trish,
that's what's,
Trish, I think what was not, I think most people thought he would probably win. But it was not expected that the Republicans would retain control of the House. So that's very critical. We have all parts of government.
Can you imagine we would have been dealing with all that litigation and stuff for forever? Russia.
Yeah,
it would happen all over.
But so now in terms of the legislature, it's a green light. So the agenda can really get implemented for at least over the next 2 years. And on top of that, you had just an overwhelming victory massive landslide in the Electoral College, won the popular vote. So I think the psychology here is, this wasn't a squeaker. This was a mandate, and it really sets the stage for things to happen and for Trump's agenda to get implemented. And that's different from, kind of a gridlock situation. And that is perhaps what the market wasn't really anticipating. And I think we're getting a lot of capital flowing into the market now. People saying, okay, green light, all systems go. We're back. America's back, and we can do things.
It feels very Reagan-esque. I kind of think, and this is interesting, I think that in some ways it's almost better for the markets and for the population in general. I'm glass half full, right? He had those 4 years off, and America went through hell and back.
Yeah.
And he came back stronger than ever. And I think he's stronger than ever in part because there is buy-in from everyone now. I mean, granted, there's still some women like AOC sobbing, and men too, right? Timmy's probably not too happy these days. But I mean, granted, there are always going to be those, Eric Swalwell out in California, irresponsible Eric Swalwell, who was irresponsible enough to have a thing with Fang Fang, who is apparently a Chinese spy. Anyway, he's like out there saying, "Hey, we got to get loud. We got to like really make some noise here." And it's like, no. Like, you can always make noise. Don't get me wrong. I mean, First Amendment queen that I am. But let's just recognize what has happened. You guys have been making everybody miserable, making businesses miserable, making Wall Street miserable. I know the market's done fine. That's because Jerome Powell and his friends there at the Fed have just printed. But listen, now it's time to get down to business. And this is kind of this Morning in America sort of feel, right? Reagan-esque. That we can work together towards all kinds of opportunities. Heck, I mean, we were talking to Neil Grossman the other night on the show live for 8 hours. Well, you and I were there 8 hours, but Neil joined us for a bit, and he said, listen, like, there's an opportunity for Donald Trump to get a Nobel Peace Prize out of this. I mean, you could have peace in the Middle East. I'm super excited. So, I think that's coming through. But again, just back to basics as an investor. I mean, everywhere I look, I kind of like, obviously crypto. I mean, Michael Saylor had a great tweet. We now have a Bitcoin president. Obviously, crypto. I look at sort of AI tech, amazing space, and we have some picks I know around that aren't necessarily the obvious, like NVIDIA, but manufacturing too, and energy as well. I mean, there's so much. Tell me why energy is a sector to focus on.
Really, it's all connected because if you listen to the leaders in AI, the Eric Schmidts and Jensen Huang, they are desperate for more electrical power. Because AI, these data centers, they're just electricity hogs, and they're building out the data centers. They need more electrical power, and that's not something. That's something that requires government involvement, right? I mean, it's building power plants, permitting, environmental permitting. So. Trump said it at Bitcoin 2024. We have the clip in the new 76 report where he was saying, China's building out electrical power generation like mad. We need to like double our electrical power generation capability in the United States to accommodate AI. And that feeds back into fossil fuels. That feeds back into natural gas, pipelines, transmission networks. So up and down like the industrial supply chain, there's going to be opportunities. And, if it's not immediate first order kind of things, it's second or third. So a lot of industrial companies are going to do really well as we invest in the energy infrastructure. But it's also,
they feed
it's not
off each other. I mean, the industrial companies doing well because the tech companies, I mean, it's like a fortuitous circle here. Go ahead.
Another thought, like industrial automation, right? If we're going to have tariffs, we're going to want to have more labor productivity in the U.S. If we want to produce more domestically, that's going to spur innovation and development in industrial automation. So that's another kind of high tech industrial businesses. So a lot of companies are really responding very positively in the industrial space, in the energy space, in technology, to this development. It's and it's as I said, I mean, it's a bit of a surprise, and we're up 4%, but I went back and looked at the 1980s and 1990s, which I would kind of broadly define as that sort of Reagan Bush plus Clinton Gingrich sort of era, pro-business, deregulation, lower taxes, low inflation. And if I'm not mistaken, the S&P 500 compounded at something like 19% for 20 years. So, which is an extraordinary run for stock investors. Now at the end of that, you had the tech bubble and crash. So it's a little bit of a, but even actually just, I went and checked, I think during the Reagan Bush years, it was something like, 15% annualized returns over that 12-year period. So it does matter what the political backdrop is, what the landscape is.
Sure. It absolutely matters. I mean, you can unleash prosperity. I loved it. Elon Musk had a great tweet. By the way, he's very happy, as I said today. His company is now worth $1 trillion, and he doesn't have them wanting to tax his unrealized gains. Because keep in mind, this is for the viewer. It could be worth $1 trillion today, and it could be worth 500 million tomorrow, but the government's going to want to tax him on the trillion as though he's already liquidated the whole thing. It's just so honestly bonkers. And the idea that Kamala Harris was pitching this, I mean, it was really, it's sort of like, how did we get here? I mean, really and truly. And so I love that America just so defiantly went out and voted in droves. So congrats to everyone that likes Donald Trump. I realize there are a lot that don't and have long faces. So I don't want to gloat too much. But I'm going to tell all those people that are worried right now, you're going to thank us later. You really are. You're going to thank us later because we're going to have good things coming ahead. Less regulation, more opportunity, the chance to kind of move into this new future. There's a reason Silicon Valley was backing him. There's a reason some really smart people, I put Peter Thiel, for example, in that crowd, or Elon Musk. And the reason, in my estimation anyway, is that they recognize that we're on the cusp of this massive shift, right? This Web 3.0, metaverse, whatever you want to call it, this AI technology that's coming in, the crypto technology that's going to need energy infrastructure so significantly with this electrification of the world, as we've talked about and we've written about at 76. And I think they were like, okay, we can either have someone who's going to embrace this with us, or we can have someone who wants to turn us into France. And what are you going to choose?
Yeah. I mean, France, it's like worse. France actually, has strong nuclear power,
Okay.
Yeah. It's almost like it would be worse than France. No, I mean, it's perfect timing because we are on the cusp of, everyone, when you think about AI, the improvements there, the innovation, that's exponential growth. And, we really are kind of in that early part of the upward curve. So things are going to get very interesting very fast in the next few years. And
you want to be part of it. I'm just going to say that. Look, we're not managing anyone's money. You do that. But we're giving you our sense of what those opportunities are. And there's real opportunity out there. I think people just need to know that, and you need to be thoughtful about what you're investing in. And you got to get started. I mean, I know everybody's like, how many money? I can't do it. Find it. Save your money. Make sure you have that fund, that nest egg in case something happens. But also know that once you have that, whatever it is, and people have different thresholds. Some people need 3 years, some people need 3 months, some people need 30 days. If you lost your job, you got to do that first. You got to make sure your credit card debt, you try and get that down. But then start saving for the future. And you look at 401ks, for example. There's all kinds of benefits that you get from that. Or if you're a small business owner, you can have your own retirement plan. You need to do these things because otherwise, you're not going to partake in this. I believe it really is sort of this renaissance that's happening. And this is going to be a moment in time that you don't want to look back and say, oh, I would have, could have, should have. Not to say the market's not going to go down next week. In fact, I'm sort of waiting for that because I'm like, okay, when it goes down, I'm going in. I try to go in religiously every week, but I love it in a weird twisted way when it goes down, because then I get my opportunity to go in. I don't want to going down so much, but I think back even over the last however many years, in March 2020, the market's fallen out of bed down 2,000 points because the media is terrifying everybody. And I'm like, okay, you guys are just way out of line. That was the first sort of, and now you look at how out of line they are. They just got smacked down, Rob, magnificently. smacked down by all of America, and not just voters, the stock market. Like, that is quite telling. 44,000 on the Dow, 6,000 on the S&P. It says it all.
Yeah. What about all those economists they were talking about, Kamala was talking about, who claimed that Trump's economic policies are a disaster? I mean, investors in the stock market are sort of not pricing in disaster here, right? They're pricing in growth. They're pricing in a successful economy. So look, I mean, you're right. I mean, the stock market will go up and down. It's not a direct path up. And I think there's, even some possibility here that with the kind of wave of, I mean, what we've had here is like everything's really been de-risked in the sense that, Kamala Harris is not going to come in with her taxes on unrealized capital gains and these other destructive policies. So just the fact that she lost is very important, let alone the fact that Trump won, right? But I think a lot of people who have been on the sidelines because they're worried about who the next administration was and would she win, that box has been checked. And I mean, I'm even seeing it with our own business here. We're getting a lot of interest, and it's sort of like, to me, it's like a signal of, okay, people are interested. Their eyes are open now. So like they feel much more comfortable with the stock market, and there's plenty of money.
Bet on America. I don't think there are a lot of people. I'm always like, don't bet against America. Don't bet against America. But simultaneously, I'm like, ooh, this debt is crazy. We've got a team that seems to keep making the wrong decision on the international policy front. Antony Blinken, thank you very much. You've got a border that's non-existent. Did you see the news today? Let me share this with you. Wow, take a peek.
Your turn, honey.
I'm going back to the past there. We don't need to do that. This is New York City today. Listen to the local New York City news.
News, the mayor just announced that the city will no longer issue vouchers to migrants to pay for food, ending a controversial program that had repeatedly come under attack by conservatives and others.
This pilot program in New York City drenched in both humanity and controversy.
Okay, so I just, we don't have to dwell on it, but I just think it's really quite telling, if you would, that there are these shifts, there are these changes, Rob, and they're happening in real time.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to the psychology around just the scale of the victory and, winning the popular vote by over 4 million votes. It's like a shift in the way everyone, where everyone thinks the center is and what's normal and what's acceptable. So it's gonna percolate into like all these different parts of, even in local government, state government. I think it's we're really parting ways with that, woke mindset.
This woke mindset that spends money in weird places. I mean, thereby sending the wrong signals and, incentivizing people to come here illegally because you're going to get these great handouts, and then not taking care of, unfortunately, the people that are actually here and providing them with the right infrastructure. And I say infrastructure in a different, I mean the opportunity infrastructure, right? To be able to go out and get a job and succeed and make your own financial choices. The taxes have been miserable, and they were going to become more miserable under Kamala Harris. And now we have this relief, I think, going on. So it's not just a relief rally, though. It's a growth rally. It's, to your point, people want to be part of this, and they don't want to be left on the sidelines.
Yeah, it's a repositioning. It's a total rethink. I mean, to me, you throw around that kind of phrases like, it's history. We're making this really is a historical turning point. That, and in the sense that as well, that it's just was not, it was not completely expected. It really wasn't expected. And it's just revealing what's really going on in the country, where everyone's minds really are. And it's going to set forth big changes in, how our government, not just our domestic, government, our domestic affairs, but international politics, right? It's going to, be a complete reset with, all these.
Everybody was worried about tariffs. You tell me who's worried about tariffs right now. I mean, I think everybody's spoken. Like nobody's. What were they? The gaslighting. Oh, tariffs are going to ruin the economy. To which we responded to this. We've written on this. We've done this on the show. It's actually. I mean, there is. And I don't want to sugarcoat this too much. There is the potential for having an immediate uptick in prices associated with an incoming tariff. However, all the studies show that over time, those tariffs get built into the economy. They all kind of level out and you're in a better spot. I think also if you have enough growth happening internally, domestically, that helps negate some of the tariff effects as well. And let me just remind everybody, we're betting on ourselves that way. We're reinvesting in ourselves. Why not reinvest in America? Why send it all to China or to Ireland? I love Ireland. I'm from Ireland, family over there. I spend a ton of time. I think I went there 3 or 4 times last year, and I'll be going back again. I love it. They get it. They have a 12% income, cap gains. You know what I mean? Corporate income tax. Clearly, I'm excited. I haven't slept all week. But they get it. They're smart about it. And they are booming as a result of it. Let's boom here.
Yeah, I mean, and look, if other countries don't want to face tariffs, they can allow our exporters to, right? And there won't be tariffs, right?
Level playing field.
No, I think the tariff thing was way over exaggerated. I mean, we had, as Trump has said, you had minimal inflation in his first term when he had $90 billion a year in tariffs. The manufacturing sector, it's large, but it's not that large. The economy is a service economy, 80%. So, and look, it's just a form of taxation. If you're generating tax revenues through tariffs, you don't have to generate tax revenues through capital gains taxes, corporate income taxes, personal income taxes, and those are drags on the economy, and those are inflationary. So it's just another approach to taxation. I really feel it was like wildly overstated in terms of like the damage it could potentially do.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And I encourage people to start paying attention to the markets. And you can start with us, if nothing else. It's just $1 a month with code word dollar. I should throw that up on the screen so that people see it in the chat. Code word dollar. I don't know as I'm able to. So, all right, you just have to remember that.
Easy to remember.
DOLLAR. Go to the website, sign up, if nothing else, for the free stuff. I think you can swing $1 a month. And guess what? You can cancel any time. So if you can't handle the $1 a month for the first 2 months, then it goes to $9.95. The real value, though, for 76 Research is the expertise that this guy I'm talking to, Rob, who has managed billions of dollars on Wall Street for many, many years, and myself, I've been in the financial media for 24 years. Can you believe that? So, and I hate to brag, but I've basically called all the ups and downs along the way. So I've got a pretty good sort of macro sense because I'm living, sleeping, eating, breathing this. And Rob is just all over the valuations on the companies. So we have had enormous success thus far. I'm going to actually show everybody just a quick look at what we've been doing, because I think it's worth taking a look at this graphic, which shows you what we've been able to accomplish. Here we go. Quick reminder to go over to 76 Research, our financial website, where you can get a whole lot of information about financial markets and what stocks we like to invest in. Lots of different content there. Just a quick look at our top financial pick, up 24%, utility up 24%, real estate up 23%. You get the picture. It's important to put yourself and your financial future first. You can do that at 76 Research, just $1. It costs just $1 with code word dollar, $1 a month for the first 2 months. 76research.com. I'll see you there. Yes, I will see you there. I just want you guys to know that, because it's a wonderful resource for you. And I just think it's really important to get started, to get in the game, to know those names. Again, there's 3 different portfolios for you there. In the Founders Club, you get them all. So 10 to 15 names in each one of those portfolios. Plus the benefit of the Founders Club is you actually get any additional portfolios that we add to this over the coming months and years. But look, this is just exciting. It's a brand new day in America. Lots of opportunity. I want everybody to be in on this. Let's make America great again and prosperous again and beneficial to each and every American again. So get involved. Go over to 76research.com. Learn more. Rob, good stuff.
Absolutely.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Have a great weekend.